Hi, welcome to the small shed. Today I'm finishing off my downhill racing cars. See you in a minute. Now, last week you'd seen me finish the car bodies and all the component parts. One of the problems I've got is that I hadn't got a Jacob's chuck for my lathe to be able to drill the holes in the centre. So I've decided to slightly, not necessarily bend the rules, but push them to their limit and do the turning of the wheels and drilling of the holes in a metalworking lathe that I've got, a small one. It gave me two advantages. Firstly, I'd got the Jacob's chuck that could drill the hole precisely in the middle, and secondly, because there's a slide on it that one revolution of the wheel moves it 1 millimetre, I could make all of the hubs and everything the same. Right, now we get on to the axles. I'm using for those some of the IKEA pins that they put through the hardboard backs on the wardrobes and furniture units. And they've got a couple of problems. They are about 2mm diameter, which is what I want, and they'll just go on like that. Now, first of all, there is a mark, machining mark on the back of the head where it's been stamped, I think. So that's a rough edge that's going to catch on the wheel with friction, and similarly there are ribs where it's meant to dig into the wood, which again it will do when it gets on an axle. And the head is relatively large as well, so following on from my researches into the American Pinewood Derby cars, what I'm going to do is pop these in the lathe, turn off the first bit of rough ribbing so that it's a plain shaft all the way down, and then polish it smooth. At the moment I'm taking it down to 600 grit, but I'll probably take it further than that, a couple of thousand maybe. And then I'm just putting a very slight chamfer on the back of it, which not only takes the machining mark off, but it also takes it away from the face of the wheel, so that there is almost no contact between the wheel and the head. It's only right down at the very root that you've got any contact, and that should ensure that they run much smoother and much longer and with less friction. I will also put graphite to lubricate it once it's all finished. And finally, again, it's probably marginally not a lot different, but I'm also taking the head size down a bit as well, so that it's a slightly smaller pin. Just thought I'd give the wheels, or at least the tyres, a bit of a stain on the one car, just to make a bit of an effort. I'm just using some of the black stain or charcoal grey that I got left over from one of the Christmas builds. Just give them a little tickle up. It won't affect the performance in any way, I'm sure, but it's all about experimenting with finishes on things for other future projects, I suppose. I've got some powdered graphite that's in solution, mainly for doing locks, but I'm going to put some of that on down into the centre of the axles, and hopefully that should ensure that we get a decent spin on the wheels. Filthy stuff, but brush some of that down into the void. And then I've got the nails that I'm going to use for the axle. Just put a very slight bend in the end of them with a pair of pliers, just to give me that little bit of camber on the wheels, so that they'll naturally try to climb up to the outside on the ground, and therefore they'll be pushing up against the axle rather than down against the centre part of the car. So again, pile as much graphite in as I can. Certainly makes a difference compared to the raw wood on metal. And then when that's done, I'm just going to tap these into the axle and worry about final adjustment later on. At the moment these are just going to be put in, and then I'll adjust the camber on the wheels when I've got them finished and all installed. Right, it's all the wheels on, put the driver in, and I've screwed the exhaust pipe onto that one. So that one's ready now, just for a bit of final fettling. But I mean, I've got that lifted about, that piece of board about half an inch, 10mm, something like that. And that will now run down there. What it needs to do is have that front camber adjusted slightly so that it'll track straight, pulling marginally to the left at the moment, but I don't really see it being a major problem on an 8-inch wide board. But at the moment, as I say, it just needs that little bit of tweaking to get it to go, but at least it's mobile and it's running as well as I can expect it to. So we'll move on and put the wheels on the other two. I'm not going to bother with those with painting them or anything, I don't think. I suppose I could give them a coat of black, but then I just need to fix the axles, a spot of cyanoacrylate, do the same as I did with that, and we're all done with all of them. So there we have it, 3 cars, all of which track reasonably straight, all of which seem to be about the same. One of them tends to, the 3-wheeler probably is the weakest of the lot, because the back wheel on this downhill section is dragging a bit on the join, so we'll see. My hopes are highest for that one. I think that one will go the best. What I'm going to do is just run them down somewhere. I've got nowhere at home with a long enough area of decent floor finish to run them along and see how far they go. It's all either carpet or tiles that are slightly textured. So I'm going to try and get them a run in from somewhere before the competition. But other than that, there's not much more I can do other than wrap them up and prepare them, and I'll let you know as and when we get there. So that's finished the cars. Sorry it's taken so long to get them done. One of the problems I've got is that because I'm just filming what I do rather than specifically making things for the channel, it means that life gets in the way. And unfortunately the nice weather, well, fortunately the nice weather that we've been having, but unfortunately that has had quite an effect on things because I've been out in the garden working on the pool, which will come up in one of the other videos later on. And also this COVID business with the masks that I've been, face shields I've been making, that has impacted fairly heavily as well, in that probably 3 days a week I've been working on those. So sorry if it's stretched out a bit, but it's only when I can get the time to do them. I'll let you know what happens with a bit of footage when we actually get to race them. That will be at some point when we all get out of lockdown. Who knows when that will be. In the meantime, look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll try and build something different. See you then. Bye.